Let's talk for a second about letter writers. These can make or break an application. If you have a lackluster letter, then that is going to sink your application pretty quick. And if you have a fantastic letter, especially from a reputable professor, doctor, whatever, somebody that the committee can trust, then that can be a real boon to your application. Now, the committee is going to assume that the people who write your letters are the ones who you feel personally are going to gush about you the most, or the most confident in your abilities. So you can imagine if you get a lackluster letter from somebody who is supposed to be your advocate, who's supposed to be your number one cheerleader, then it doesn't look good and doesn't help your chances of getting in. Now, letter writers, for the most part, are very educated and busy people. They don't have time to do a whole lot of things like try and rack their brains for the few moments that they spent with you. You have to provide them with the things that you want them to talk about. Like if you had an experience with them that was particularly meaningful for you, like, say your first time seeing a certain disease, or your first time addressing some sort of health disparity, something, whatever it is, it's probably not as important to them as it was to you. It might have been earth shattering to you, but it's likely they're not going to remember it. So you have to tell them specific experiences that you want them to include in their letters. And even more importantly than that, you need to have them use that as part of your brand. Like we said, all of your application has to focus toward that brand, that McDonald's I'm loving it, where you hear I'm loving it, you know it's McDonald's. You want these people to know exactly who you are the second they hear a word about you. So in this example that I'd like to share, I gave Dr. Jackson, she's a family medicine physician in Moroni, Utah that I worked with. I gave her some good experiences to work with, and I told her I really want to focus on serving rural areas, and I would love it if your letter could focus on convincing the committee that I am dedicated to serving in rural areas. So this is the introductory paragraph of her letter, and I thought she did such a good job, and it was very kind of her, the words she said. So it starts with, Cody Sanders is a very enthusiastic medical student who I had the pleasure of getting to know several months ago during a rural family medicine rotation in Moroni, Utah. I was pleased to receive a request from Cody for a letter of recommendation. I am a family medicine physician and the sole provider in a small rural clinic. Later, Cody returned to spend more time in our local hospital in Mount Pleasant. I have worked with many students over the years, and a few of them, like Cody, really stand out as being exceptional. Now, this is just a wonderful way to hit it home. Dr. Jackson, introductory paragraph saying, man, this Cody kid, he loves rural areas. He came back to them twice just to come work with these underserved populations. And he is one of the better students that I have ever worked with. And she goes on and she uses specific examples from our time spent together, like staying late overnight to do deliveries in a rural area, like working with some of the health disparity and some of the patients that were suffering from it in the rural areas. Like, it was just very nice because once she had put all that in her application, that part of my brand basically done. Like, that hits the nail on the head, and the committee knows exactly what they are dealing with. So coach your letter writers. They don't know what to say until you tell them what you need them to say.